Good.
Next week.
All right, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us. And welcome to our council meeting of September 26, 2019. Jesse, you call the roll call, please.
Mayor Siciliano.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Here.
Council members Achera.
Here.
Donlin. Here. Fisher.
Here.
Everybody please rise for a pledge of allegiance, and then please remain standing for a moment of silent prayer thereafter. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The notice requirement for the open public meeting that has been satisfied. A copy of the annual notice was sent to the Asbury Park Press Coaster, posted in Town Hall, and filed in the office of the municipal clerk on December 27, 2018. There are two fire exits, one to my left in the back of the room, which will bring you out to the parking lot, and one to my right here, which will also bring you out to the front parking lot. If you have a phone, we just ask that you turn the volume down. You can keep the phone on if you want to take pictures, but if you need to make a call, just kindly go out into the hallway. We do tape and archive all these meetings, and it interferes with our system a little bit. Tonight, before we do any council presentations, we have a very special swearing-in ceremony. We love doing this. We have a new officer coming on board, so we're going to come down from the dais, and we'll talk about that for a minute.
Did you push the button? Hold it down.
Okay, we got power. Very good. So this is a part of the meetings that we always like doing. It's when we swear in a new officer, and it's really wonderful because they go through a really rigorous interviewing process in Ocean Township, and Chief always tells us, and the captains, lieutenants, they interview hundreds of candidates just for this one spot. So there's a lot of folks going through our system that really want to get on here and join this accredited police department, which last meeting we had the honor of having another accreditation, second one in 3 years, which was pretty phenomenal. So only 11% of the police forces are even accredited. So even to achieve that and to be on a force like that, it's a true honor. And so we're really glad to have this young man with us. So I'm going to turn it over to the chief. He's going to tell us a little about our new hire.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening. So with us tonight we have James Stevens, who ironically, it's funny, through the interview process, you know, we ask a lot of questions, and one of the things we ask you is, what do you know about Ocean Township? And in the interview, James said, well, I know Ocean Township. It's one of the reasons I applied here is because my grandparents lived on West Park Avenue for like 60 years. Now, I'm not putting the name together at the time because his name's James Stevens. And tonight, who walks in but Lenny and Jenny Shoekavage, and of course Mike Shoekavage. I've known this family for over 40 years, all affiliation through the Volunteer First Aid Squad and Fire Company. So it's actually it was a pretty happy thing to see everybody walk in here, so this is great. So what about James? So James actually comes to us as an experienced police officer. He was a full-time police officer in North Charleston, North Carolina. He has his bachelor's degree from Charleston Southern. He then came back up to New Jersey, where he worked as a SLEO2 in North Wildwood this past year. And from there, he came to us. So I'm very happy to have James aboard. I wish him well in his new career, and I think he's going to be a great asset for the police department. So at this point, James, I want to come up, swear you in, Mayor.
We have somebody, you're going to assist?
Yes.
And you're going to hold the Bible? You can put your hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. Everybody in place here. Let's wait for Jack to get out of the way of the good camera shot there. Welcome aboard, by the way.
Thank you.
So, I state your name.
I, James Stevens,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the
of
Constitution
the State of New Jersey.
of the State of New Jersey,
That I will bear true
that I will bear true
faith
faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of police officer
of police officer
of the Township of Ocean
of the Township of
to the
Ocean
best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Great job. Well done. Oh, yeah. Hey, get in here. Get over here. Got them all? Great. Great stuff. All right, thank you, guys. All right, thank you all for joining us, and at this time, we're going to take a short recess and give you guys a chance to go and assemble back to your duties, and anybody else wish to go home and catch up on might be a game on tonight, who knows, or something important, you're welcome to do that. But thank you again for joining us. Congratulations. All right, we're going to continue our meeting, our regular scheduled business here. At this time, I'm going to ask any of the council members, we'll go down the line. Councilman Napolitani, you have anything for us tonight?
I have no report.
Didn't you have a proclamation you presented recently?
Yes, I thought you were going to say something, but yeah, I did. I presented the proclamation for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, which is September. We presented it to the Mile and Terry Foundation last night at the annual Maya's Cup. We presented that to Kelly Terry. The girls played outstanding last night. However, they did lose 3-2 in a actual double overtime. But it was a great game. So, thank you, man.
Great. Well, great cause and a great event. Sorry they didn't win, but hey, it was a good time held by all.
They played hard.
Marge, you have anything for us?
Last week, the environmental resource inventory was presented. There are 2 copies of that at the library, and I believe the link for that is on the township website as well. But I just wanted to mention there's 2 hard copies, so if anyone's interested in learning more about the environmental resources in Ocean Township, that's available to everybody.
Great, thank you. Dave?
Yes, Councilman Rob Achera and I, as well as Mike Musillo and Ron Kirk, had the pleasure of taking a tour of the Tosa sewage facility this week. I wanted to thank Tom Diorio and Ed Quinton for their expertise. Also, on the traffic issue, we are still looking for proactive suggestions, obscured signs, faded street lines, any potential safety issues. Please get either to me or Mike Musillo, and we'll sort of parcel that out. I also ask everybody to slow down around the critical spots around Palea Park as well as the intermediate school. The deer are moving around quite a bit, so be careful out there. I also want to let everyone know that the special planning board meeting is planned for Monday, October 7th. That will be at Ocean Township High School, and that will be at 7 p.m. That is a special planning board meeting. Finally, I just want to wish those residents who are celebrating Rosh Hashanah Happy New Year. That's my report.
Oh, you took my Lashana Tova out. That's okay. We're going to wish everybody that anyway. Rob?
Saturday, October the 5th, Fall Fest, 10 to 4 over at Joe Palea Park. Got a lot of great activities going on there. Food, music, pony rides, petting zoo. We'll have bands playing throughout the day. Right, Johnny?
Yes.
Okay. We have Touch a Truck and a lot of other things. So, applications. If you don't have your application in yet, Wednesday is the deadline. You need to get it in by Wednesday, and we only have a limited number of spaces left, so hurry up, get them in. But we look forward to seeing everybody there. Again, 10 to 4, Saturday, October the 5th.
They are filling up. Yes, they are. They're starting to come in now a lot. We also have the amazing pie guy from Embry Farms. If you guys hadn't had a chance to try this guy's pie out at the Italian Festival, fantastic. I mean, you want to be here just for that. Check out the pie guy. Mike, you have anything for us?
No report.
Marty.
I actually have a couple of things. One,
We're busy right now.
I was
Okay.
we lost a great member of Ocean Township, a citizen, Judge Bob Feldman, who passed away last Sunday. I've had cases with him as an attorney, cases before him as a judge, a mediator, as a representative of Cedar Village. I did a lot of work with him, and he was a big Giant fan, and he's a big loss. He was a tremendous, great guy. On a more positive note, I also want to wish Margie a happy birthday. And
Thank you.
to make me really feel old, she's actually just 1 year and 2 days older than my oldest daughter. So that's scary. But anyway,
Wow.
I'd like to lead us as we all sing Happy Birthday to Margie. And I'd like everyone there to join in, please.
Oh my goodness.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Margie. Happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you.
How
That's
special is that?
that's how to get an Irish woman to blush.
Oh, I thought it was the whiskey. But
That too.
Hey, yeah, again, Lashana Tova, everybody, all our friends who are celebrating. Also, as to what Marty was saying, follow up, Bob Feldman, a great guy, and he was really an interesting character, and I had a lot of dealings with him in the past probably 10 years, as he was one of the staunch representatives and advocates for Cedar Village and all that he can get for them, and just trying to help his community out as much as he could. And so we sparred a lot, and we went back and forth, but we always left it cordial. We always, friendly handshake and a smile, and he was just a great guy, great mediator, like Marty said, probably a fantastic judge. Thank God I never had to go before him, but just an all-around great guy. So my condolences to the family of our esteemed judge. And that's it. So with that, the purpose of this public portion is to solely ask questions, understand resolutions and vouchers that appear on an agenda, and not an occasion for a public hearing on an ordinance. Questions not related to the item on the agenda should be asked during the public comments portion at the conclusion of the meeting. Does anybody have anything germane to the resolutions that appear on the agenda at this time? If you do, please come up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record, just on the resolutions. No, seeing and hearing no one. Someone please offer resolutions 19165 through 19169.
I will offer them.
Second.
I'll second.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
I will vote yes on all except for 19-165, letter B. I will abstain on that.
Siciliano?
Yes. For individual action, we have resolution 19163, authorized professional service contract for the period of July 1st, 2019 through June 30, 2020, with the following consultant engineers: T&M Associates, CME Associates, and Najarian Associates. And we also did our one with Avakian, right?
That was
We've
last
done
month.
that.
Did
Okay.
last month.
Someone please offer.
I'll offer resolution 19-163.
Second.
I'll second.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes.
Siciliano?
Yes. And tonight, for adoption, we have ordinance number 2325. Jess, would you read the title, please?
Sure. Ordinance number 2325. An ordinance to amend Chapter 12 of an ordinance entitled Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Ocean, 1965, prohibiting parking along portions of Larchwood Avenue.
Okay. Someone please open the public hearing on ordinance number 2325.
I'll open the public meeting on ordinance 2325.
Second.
I'll second.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes.
Siciliano?
Yes. Anybody wishing to be heard on ordinance number 2325, please come up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Seeing or hearing no one, someone please close the public hearing on ordinance 2325.
I make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2325.
Second.
I'll second.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes.
Siciliano?
Yes. Action please on ordinance number 2325.
I move to approve ordinance number 2325
Published.
and publish according to law.
Excellent. Second.
I'll second.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes.
Siciliano?
Yes, that ordinance has been adopted. Also, before I invite the public up, I just want to also say, we mentioned that we were going to have some public hearings or information available at future council meetings just prior to our November vote, because we had a couple of questions on the referendum there on deer management. So we're going to hear from someone at the next October meeting. Which date is
October 10th.
October 10th, and then also at the late October meeting, which would probably be the 24th.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have two different opinions, someone from a managed cold organization, and then someone also for optional methods of managing the deer herd. Does anybody have anything that they wish to share with us tonight? Come on up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record.
Pretty empty in here tonight.
There's a lot of satisfied folks at home.
Okay. Anyway, okay. I wanted to mention about the Environmental Commission meeting that we had in Sustainable Jersey came and spoke. And what continually stands out to me is the Deal Test Site and the contamination at Deal Test Site being a high-risk military cleanup, which is not scheduled till 2021. And then I see here tonight in Ordinance 19168, the building of more soccer fields in the park. I've
No.
Isn't was one of the resolutions about new soccer fields?
Oh, use.
The use of
Yeah,
them.
we have an annual tournament that we allow to use all the fields from the school to play a park, all the fields we have available.
Right, but can any one of you tell me exactly where the most high-risk part of Deal Test Site Joe Palea Park is?
Yeah, so the report, you got to remember, is from over 20-something years ago. It was a low level of arsenic is what they actually found. It was
It's high level risk.
very low level. And I'm going to say this. Got to remember, we've improved that park several times with DEP approval. We have soccer fields there.
What is
Trail there.
EPA approval?
We've had all these different things done at the park. I would think by this time, if there was something there, they would have come forward. We've had our engineer reach out. The Army Corps doesn't seem that they haven't given us any indication that there's something that has to be done there. I even pulled the funding of the $1 million is not going to be allocated to clean up that site, right? Is that what you found out, John, on that?
Yes. Another thing you brought up, Mayor, was that if there was $1,035,000 allocated up until 2021 of this, in the future, those people would be pounding at the door to spend that money.
Right. Contractors would have been there.
Second of all, I am on the Mylan Terry Foundation as a board member. The president of the board, Kelly Terry, has been after an updated report from the DOD. She has not received anything. We've had our town manager reach out to the senator's office. He's also going to reach out to the congressman's office as well to see if there's an updated report. However, that, like the mayor said, it's a low-level arsenic, and it also states in there that it has not any danger at this point. I really don't think...
That's not true.
I don't think that they would allow children to play on the soccer fields if there was a high level of arsenic, nor do I think, for 1 minute, that they would allow the Italian festival to continue each and every year for the past 40 years out there.
Who is they? Who is they? Who's allowing it?
Wouldn't the DEP stop us if there was a high level of arsenic there?
It's on the internet now. I mean, there are low risk, medium risk, and high risk. Deal Test Site, Joe Palea Park, is high risk. We're not scheduled for cleanup until 2021, and I would think...
If they were going to clean up, they would have probably already have contracted and bid that out by now. It's 2019, the end of 2019.
I guess there are a lot of places to clean up. We're on 2021. I mean, I guess what I would ask the council and ask you, Mayor, I think we would have to be more aggressive about getting them to clean it up sooner than later, because we do use the park. It's not like it's an area that's hard to get to. And I did see the map on the Mylan Terry Foundation. She has, they have the exact same information that I found on Google, and it shows a map and it shows a big red spot at one part. But there's nothing. But there's nothing that says caution that's marked off. I mean, when I moved here into town, it was called Deal Test Site. We did sort of a cosmetic cover-up now, and we call it Joe Palea Park. And every time we have a festival, it's held at Joe Palea Park. And when I go to an environmental commission meeting and we speak about the contamination, we speak about the contamination in Deal Test Site. And many new people moving into town are not aware that Deal Test Site and Joe Palea Park are one and the same. So I think we're not being completely transparent with new families. Unfortunately, Mylan came down with cancer and has passed, and it's tragic. And as I understand, there were 20 children came out with juvenile cancers in the Oakhurst neighborhood, which really kind of shoulders up to the park closer than, say, Wayside. And I feel, since I communicate a lot on social media with our town, the various different groups, Ocean Cares and Ocean Township and News, new people in town are now questioning and saying, what's going on with that? Where is it exactly? So I would like to know, is it possible to put a group together and start to be a little bit more proactive in getting that cleaned up before 2021?
Group of whom?
Well, it could be council people. If you want me to put a group together, I'll put a group
To
together.
go clean up the site?
No, I could never do that because you need, it's a very complicated thing. In fact, I think at the time it does get cleaned up, we probably will have to close the park because it's not low levels of arsenic, it's high risk. There's no reason for them to call Deal Test Site high risk.
Did not see that in the report I saw. Our engineer, Greg Blash.
You see it on Mylan, it says bombs in your backyard. Are you not familiar with this?
Jackie,
So you're saying that it's on the internet, it must be true, but I mean, the bottom line
It's
is,
on the Mylan Terry Foundation.
we have a report.
Ask Councilman Napolitani. He's on that foundation and it's on their
and
website.
I just responded to you, and I told you that the president of the Mylan Terry Foundation also does not see what you're looking at this point.
It's on your website. I'll make a copy the next time, or I'll email it all to you. I'm not here to argue about a point that is clearly something you all don't want to discuss. Let's say that.
No, we've been discussing it long before you even found out about it. And in fact, Greg Blash has reached out to different engineering firms to see what kind of testing we can do over there. But we have to be specific of what we're looking for, because each test could be $10,000. So
There are-
we want to know what we want to test for.
It says arsenic is there. They've already tested. That's why we're high risk, because they've already tested.
There are over 10,000 tests that can be done.
And when have we done any that you're aware
We
of?
will not do any tests until we find out what tests we can do, because they're out of the 10,000 tests, 9,000 of them or more don't affect that site. So we're not going to willy-nilly do tests that cost tens of thousands of dollars if we don't know what we're looking
Right.
for.
What-
Arsenic? Well, it looks like people have already done tests, Councilman Napolitani. They've already done tests. It's already clear. That's why we're not low risk, we're medium risk, we're high risk. They've made that determination. What I think your council or someone within our township who is responsible for that, we should just be sort of more proactive. We should fence off what we believe that red dot is on the map that's on the Mylan Terry
That's the
Foundation.
maintenance shed.
But why is it, no, but it's on the high, where it says high risk?
That's the maintenance shed.
Right, but there's a big red dot. But you see that on the map, but you don't see it when you're over there.
No, I saw the dot
Right.
at the early report when someone brought it up to us a few years ago. But we can have Greg Blash order a couple of soil borings there to check for arsenic. How's that?
Yeah, but also it says water contamination. I mean, I think, Mayor, if you, since it seems that many of you are not familiar with this report that I've been reading,
The new people might not, but we've had that report brought up to us a few years ago, and we've tried to look into it as much as possible. No one seems to know, even when we reached out to the Army Corps of Engineer, of, wow, this is a report that they made on all these different bases, and who knows, they never really gave us anything except for saying they sent a follow-up letter. I don't know, Mike, if you had it, but it said something about low level of arsenic, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you saw too? I mean, we looked into it.
why would they say high risk if it's low levels of arsenic? Are low levels of arsenic a high risk? Is it that serious?
I can't answer for them. I don't.
Who's labeled it high risk?
It's in
I'm
the
looking at an
military.
article, in the New Jersey, in some Patch magazine. Who's giving it the rating that it's high risk?
It's called the EDP or something. I have to look at it. There's three initials. It's on the military. It's on the Superfund cleanup. Have you ever heard of the Superfund
Yeah.
cleanup site?
Actually,
It's on.
Jackie, it's USDA Farm Service Agency.
Thank you.
It's the maintenance shed.
But we should let the neighbors know so they don't let their children play over there. Probably the soccer fields are over in that area. The water that runs from the stormwater management, the stormwater overflowing Poplar Brook is going to bring the water through the soil, could carry that contamination into our yards. So I bring it up, not necessarily to mix the two, because I've been criticized for that because they took me wrong. But I bring it up because, with all the construction that may be approved at the corner is going to cause more stormwater runoff to run down through our park. And it's going to, and the engineer for the planners, the engineer for the proposed developers, he basically said, yes, Poplar Brook will. There is no management program for the overflowing of Poplar Brook with this new development proposed. So it will run more water through the soil, which will run more, runoff, perhaps this arsenic. I'm not quite sure what arsenic would do to us coming through the water and the soil, but there's a reason it's high risk and not low risk. So I would take it seriously if I were in any one of your positions. And if you like, I will look into it a bit more and try and get some information for you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm not done. So the other thing I wanted to know, have you been watching the planning board meetings at all, Mayor?
Have I? Yes.
Yeah. And I know up until now, when I had questioned you, if we could have experts of our own come and represent we the people, you said, sure, you can bring experts of your own. We're not going to pay for it. But we have Higgins and Fitzgerald, so we're satisfied with them. However, there have been a couple of things that have happened that make me be a little concerned about their complete follow-through on a couple issues. And now that we have had, we had a tree expert that had come from the developer's tree expert. You must have heard this then, out of the 3,750 trees, he calculates about 30 are worth saving, which means if they're dead, diseased, or dying, they don't owe the township any money for trees that they remove. The fee is waived, correct?
No.
Well, you know what? It's a matter before the planning board. They're an autonomous body. They're going to make a determination. So.
Right. They're paying, I know they're paying for, I don't know, hundreds of trees, not just 30.
How can they make the determination if they don't walk the
I
land?
thought I saw an agreement of like 455 trees they're paying for. There's probably 1,200 being saved on the northern border just by that buffering alone. Plus whatever land swap we work out, probably save another 1,000 or 1,200. There's going to be significant tree savings there.
But that's not what's being spoken about at the meetings. I mean, what you say here sounds like, lounge talk, and then you go into the planning board meetings, it's a very hostile situation. It's not very supportive of the community. It's much more supportive of the proposed developer. What? You don't feel that?
No, I kind of think it's been, a typical hearing, basically.
No, we watched a hearing where the traffic expert got to do a little point with his laser on all of his traffic designs, and we got to hear a lot of testimony from the developers experts, but when we had requested our tree expert to walk the property, that was denied. So we had a drone, one of the neighbors' sons had done a drone because there's a no trespassing signs up there now, and that was we were starting to show it, and it was denied. They wouldn't allow the planning board to see it. So this is like the planning board making a decision. Several on the planning board have never walked the land. I luckily walked the land many times and enjoyed it. It's like a paradise in there.
They were offered to walk the land. They're always offered to walk the land.
They were?
Always. In fact, Pete Ciano, I know, took advantage of it. He did.
So they all go together? Did you go as a tour?
Again, this is a matter, excuse me, this is a matter that's before the planning board. We have no idea here, I don't think, which members of the planning board walk the site, but it's a hearing before the planning board. The council is not involved directly in that hearing. We don't know who walked the site.
Doesn't the council represent the people?
Of course.
We represent all the people, not just you, but all the people.
I'm here because people are counting on me to speak for them.
Some people are, I'm
Yes.
sure. Not all.
More than not. At least more than not in terms of certain community groups.
I don't know.
Okay?
That I don't know. I can't tell you that.
I mean,
If more than that, you'd be up here.
listen, 1,880 people are counting on me, even though I didn't get one of those seats. There's 1,880 people that that thank me, that are happy that I come and speak to you, because not everyone wants to get yelled at by Mr. Napa or Tony. They don't really have the, I do spend a lot of time in New York City, so you don't scare me, but a lot of people find you a little bit aggressive. I'm just saying, That's why they don't come, and that's why I come here. You know, I'm tough.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Joe.
So I'm not done.
Oh.
So, well, because if anybody else wants to get up and speak, Mr. Hash, you're making a mean face at me. But anyway, there are a couple things I wanted to bring up. We got stuck on the deal test site because I do think it's a very important issue, and I would like to not just sweep it under the carpet quickly. So, do you think that the planning board members are watching our meetings the same way you're watching their meetings?
I don't know. I'm just going to suggest something about 8 to 12 inches for your mic.
Okay.
Only because I know Tommy's probably going crazy up there trying to.
Okay, sorry.
That's all.
You know what? What difference does that make? We have no idea. We have no idea whether they're watching these meetings, just like we have no idea which members walk the site. The planning board is a separate, like I said, autonomous body. They're a quasi-judicial body that's going to make a determination. We're not here to judge what they're doing right now.
I get that, but they need to be informed to make a determination, and if every time the community brings up an issue that they should be aware of, but it's objected to, and then the objection's sustained, we have no, you indulge me, you allow me to speak. We're not indulged in the same way at the planning board meeting.
Because the planning board meeting is not a council meeting. The council
I get
meeting,
that, but you keep
let me finish. In the council meeting, we allow people to come up if they have an issue to speak about that issue. The planning board meeting is more like a trial. It's more like witnesses are presented, evidence is taken, responses are heard, relevant comments are made, evidence can be submitted by I know you don't like the term objectors, but that's the term that everybody uses, the objectors. But it's not just an open forum that anybody can say whatever they want at any time.
We understand that, and we've been following the rules, and we were told that at the end of the presentation, which went on for several meetings, we watched a very thorough presentation, that it was in favor of the proposed developer. But we're all not in favor of this development, of course, for many reasons, and when we come to at least present and appeal to the planning board, this other group, we're stopped at every spot. So they're not getting full sentences in many cases. They're not getting to see the aerial view to determine. Mr. Higgins, after we objected to what the tree expert said, who's paid for by the developer, but we don't agree with that at all. Before the signs were up, I've walked that land. There's plenty of very live, beautiful trees there. And anyway, when we had our tree expert come, they wouldn't allow him to walk the land. So then Mr. Higgins said, I'll walk the land and I'll make an assessment. I'll take another look at all that. And then when we showed up at the following planning board meeting, he said, I never did walk it. I didn't want to get in the middle of all that. It's just really amazing the way it's being managed, and I'm not an attorney, but watching, I wish that we, as the community, had an attorney, because someone that could really go back, fight with Crimco, because on the planning board, there hasn't been one thing that she's objected to that we have been able to follow through on. So I guess I feel like it's very swayed one way in terms of the information and good news that the planning board is being given. Same thing with accidents. The traffic expert said he never did an accident report, which I found kind of shocking, because to me, if you're a traffic person, determining traffic flow, I would think accidents fit in with that mix. And anyway, so then I did I got a traffic study on my own that was here through the town, and it turns out that right now, as it stands with 3,750 trees in that corner, we have an average of 3 car crashes a month. That's a lot. And we just had one this week. So first I was told it was 105 crashes since 2017. Then I was told, no, that a couple of them were recorded twice. So it came out to 89 crashes since then. And now we just had one this week. So I would suspect the number is now 90. So 90 crashes since 2017 is a lot. And I think that's another reason. There are 2 reasons I'd like, the planning board to consider not approving this proposal. One is that I feel it's a very risky corner to cross right now. I tried doing it. My niece had some things at Pet Boys. Went over there with her. It was terrifying. Like, you're waiting. When does it say that we could walk? And it's not a comfortable crossing there. And and then also, I am concerned about DL test sites contamination, because if we wind up destroying the only virgin land that's on that property, there's never been military use on the 32 acres. It's only been used as farmland. It was used as a Native American campground. It is pure land. It may be the only park we have. If they start doing that dig up in Joe Playa Park and the contamination is like everywhere, what are we going to do? We can't, of sound mind and heart, say to families, come to the festival here. It's really cool.
We might have to close the library and the historical museum as well. It all abuts that land. But, well, like I said...
Yeah, but that was the Turner property where the library is.
Well, you're saying if the contamination's that bad, it'll affect the 208 acres that we have, and it probably would go over to the other 42, and then maybe even up to the 32. But here's what we'll do. If it's arsenic, we'll do some soil borings and have it tested for arsenic in and around that shed there. That's the hot zone. And then we can have a little determination if there's anything that presently exists.
So do you think this next planning board meeting is the one that's going to be the decision maker?
I don't see why it wouldn't be. I think there's been a lot of information out there. I think the board's heard a lot of testimony and heard from the public a lot, but I don't see why it wouldn't be. That's up to them.
Well, because we still have some public comment to make.
You have time to make it that night.
Yeah, no, I know. I just, I was wondering, people have said to me in town that they're going to approve that. There's a very definite that they're going to approve it. And I said, well, how could they approve it? I mean, we're not even finished with public comment. And they said, well, the township has a lawsuit. This is going to put a lawsuit away. Everybody knows that. The mayor said it publicly in meetings. That's why the zoning 2303 went through, because you said, no matter what we said that evening, you were going to approve it because it would put a lawsuit to bed. So it's
I said that evening that I hadn't heard anything that was enough to put that ordinance through.
No, you said, well, it doesn't matter what you say.
We're dealing with that in litigation.
No, I know that. And I knew you were going to shut me down. That's why I knew how to get to it at the end.
He's not going to comment on it.
Well, it is in, anyone could look at the meeting minutes, and, it is there. So, I guess I wanted to just ask you, have you ever, Mayor, addressed anyone on the planning board and instructed them to approve it because it would put a lawsuit to them?
Never.
Just never?
Never.
No. Has anybody, Councilman Napolitani, have you ever instructed anyone on the planning board to approve this because it would put the lawsuit to bed?
Have I instructed anybody?
Yeah. Have you ever said it would be best for the township should you go ahead and do that?
No.
Okay, great. Have you, Councilwoman?
Absolutely not. I can't imagine anyone here would have.
Okay, well, there's been some crazy things happen in the council, not with these guys, but we're in a situation with the commercial zoning up there because it probably should have been rescinded years ago, because it is going to be quite invasive. So I guess, Councilman Fisher, have you ever instructed any of the planning board members to...
Well, I'm actually on the planning board right now, and the answer is no.
Is that a conflict of interest?
No, he's
No,
a
because
Class
I'm
2
not-
member, has to be on the board.
I'm not hearing this case. I just got sworn in the other night.
So you're not going to be voting?
I will not be voting on the case.
Okay, great.
He would be eligible to sit on the board and vote on the case under other circumstances, because we have to have that member there, and he wasn't there for the lawsuit anyway, wasn't serving during that time, but since he wasn't kept up to speed, I didn't think it would be fair for either party, either side, for him to vote.
And before you ask me, I was on the planning board before Mr. Fisher took over, and I also had to recuse myself due to a conflict, so I heard none of the application and have not been any part of the discussion for the property, even in the council meetings.
So, okay, so you can't really determine why the planning board is going to go through with this, even though the majority of the community is against it.
I don't know. What
Just
did you
forget
ask
it.
him?
Okay. Well, I was asking, it seems like everyone's saying it's a done deal and we haven't finished our
I think that's the
determination.
opinion
They
of
were going to
people.
come, you asked them
I
to
think
come
that's
to a
the
vote.
opinion of people. I don't know. I mean, I don't know who's saying that with any.
Well, I don't
knowledge
wanna-
or not.
Some people have just said, we're going to vote yes. Now, of course, we can appeal it, and I get all of that. I just wish that I wish that Mr. Higgins would have walked the land and confirmed for all of us. That would have given me a little bit more faith. You made the zoning changes in 2303, which were quite custom tailored to grading this proposed development. It fits right into everything we've zoned it for. So, that obviously technically is spot zoning, even though that's not necessarily the case that we have. But there is a property directly across the street, and I spoke to the realtor there, and it's for sale, and it's Orchard Plaza, and it is 75% vacant.
Right.
There's a huge parking lot in the back. There's plenty of room for a Wawa convenience store, Chick-fil-A, and even perhaps a Marriott hotel. I was wondering if you would consider talking to the developers about perhaps bringing the commercial part of that property, what's being proposed, and moving it to that location. Mr. Haas often speaks about ratables, and he says, I don't get that. I do get that. I'm a taxpayer as well. But the ratables could come out of Orchard Plaza. I mean, there would, to repurpose. I think with our township looking towards the future, because I also to a lot of younger people that are newly out of high school and just kind of in college. We have what's going on in the UN now with, climate change and this whole awareness of the environment. And when we have an empty strip mall that's falling apart, that's crumbling before our eyes, as an eyesore for our community, to let that stay like that and tear down a beautiful wetland forest with significant historic, really nationally recognized historic significance, it just seems insane. I mean, we have this park we're using, it's contaminated. We have a beautiful virgin park that we're about to just tear down, and we have an empty,
Right.
yeah, it's outrageous.
He'll buy that too. He expressed to me, he'll take the whole highway.
Give him the highway.
He's offered, that landowner made him offers before. That guy just couldn't come to terms. He couldn't come to terms with him
I
on
didn't
a
know you were
deal.
here, I'm
But
sorry.
Jackie, the other part of it is, we can't dictate to someone where to spend their money. It's kind of like somebody buying a house. I can't say, instead of buying that one, buy that foreclosure over there. Well, no, I want to live here.
I get it. You didn't have to zone it for him either. You zoned it for him. If you didn't zone it for him, he could have done that.
For him, I think I zoned it down to make sure we didn't get a 95% impervious coverage that was zoned that way before. I
Illegally.
zoned it down to a 55% coverage.
It was zoned that way by the mayor who went to jail. Come on,
Okay.
we all know that.
Anyway, thank you for your comments. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Okay, I'm going to let Olga speak now. I didn't
Oh,
realize she
that's
was here.
nice of you.
Thank you.
Wow, I just didn't want you to go home too early.
Thank you, Jack. Anybody else wishing to be heard before we close out the meeting? Nobody? Oh.
Just three brief points, Mayor.
State your name and
You gotta
address.
do your name and address.
Olga Hanut, Meadows Lane in West Side. I just want to bring to your attention there is a double standard when we are at the planning board hearings between the people who are in favor of the project and the people opposing the project, and also the attorney for the applicant. What I mean a double standard, the way that the planning board members and the chairman is conducting. On the hearing of February 25th, the attorney for the applicant brought on exhibit 39 something from historicsites.com to say what is the historic value of the property. When she was presenting the exhibit, she said that was from 1986. 5 seconds later, a member of the board, Dr. Di Benedetto, asked, what year was that? 1980. So she didn't even know it was from 1986 or 1980. Something of such historic value she brought from historicsites.com. When Mr. Dennis Hollott brought some documentation also from Google, he was not able to present. So Ms. Krimko says she needed to authenticate it, the documentation, the planning board never asked for authentication of the historicsites.com of Exhibit 39. Now, an attorney in town came to speak also in favor of the development, and he was able to talk about the generosity of the applicant's principal, and that he was with the Little League, nothing to do with what is in the jurisdiction of the planning board. If we bring up a subject, it's not with the jurisdiction of the planning board, when we the opposing people. But when there is somebody in favor of the project, they can talk about anything, taxes, bringing a hotel, the Little League, whatever. They can go at length. The minute that we bring something, immediately we get caught. You know, that is. The other thing that concerns me is the scary tactics from one of the residents in here that appeared at the prior council meeting, that was asking you and another members what our tax bill is going to look like if this project doesn't get approved. And he said that he hopes that the residents are watching, meaning that our tax bill, if this doesn't get approved, and he said, and I'm going to quote, that if the developer is not able to complete the project, he may sue, and then the taxpayers were going to have to come up with a bill. Middletown, Red Bank, and those towns, they deny Wawa gas stations, and they never got sued. The tax bills didn't go up. So those scary tactics to come here and start questioning you how much the tax bill is going to look like, that is not prudent, and it shouldn't be allowed, because I'm sure the town has insurance if there is a lawsuit, because the applicant feels that he has to sue the town because he didn't get approved. Then the insurance from the town should cover those things, but not the taxpayers.
Not true.
No?
No,
But one of the tax bills you indicated last time, when the same resident brought it up, you said one of the legal bills was covered by an insurance?
Yeah, it depends on what the claim is. And in other words, if you remember the yeshiva case, because we were told by our insurance company that you're probably not going to overturn a RELUPA case, it would only go so far on coverage. I think Marty can talk.
Yeah,
I mean, the same thing with this. If you deny an application that's in an approved
We've already been
loan,
sued on this matter.
Insurance
We had
doesn't
insurance that covered an initial part of the claim. When it was in federal court, it got then returned to state court. That was the end of the coverage, and we've been on our own for the whole process dealing with this litigation. That is, like I said, it's now in hiatus in essence, depending on what happens here. But we are responsible for our own legal fees, and we are responsible if there were some damages, there'd be a claim against us and the taxpayers.
But we never bring that up. But we never bring up the positive or negatives about the site. We're careful not to do that. I don't think you've heard anybody say, "Oh, but the tax revenue will get." When asked what it was the potential, we'll answer that question. But we never voluntarily just make that subject matter for a meeting. We don't.
Yeah, I think it's very important for the town officials to remain neutral and don't voice their opinions or what side they are leaning to.
I voiced my opinion that I said I've never. Me personally would prefer not to see anything built there. I think I've said that at almost every time I was asked. So is that fair?
But it should be throughout in
Maybe
social media, in general. It should be throughout the neutrality of the township officials. So
right. I think we've been very neutral about it, except for me just now.
And 5 minutes ago, Attorney Arbus said that this is like a trial that we're facing, but we are not able, and Chairman Borelli had said the same thing, but we are not able to present our defense. We are denied the opportunity. The objection, we cannot come across with a full sentence to be able, without an objection, and we were not able
he was a planning board attorney. He could tell you why some of the
Well, no, I'm not gonna get into why your questions are objected to, whether it's right or wrong that those objections are sustained. Again, there's a whole bunch of you out there who oppose it. There's nothing that would have prevented you from hiring a lawyer if that's what you wanted to do. I know there was a lawyer at one of the meetings, I'm told. But the bottom line is, I'm not here, and nor is this council here, to overlook what the planning board is doing and make a determination as to whether that's right or wrong. I've said it here tonight a couple of times. They're a separate, autonomous body. They have an attorney. The attorney and the chairman make a determination when there's an objection made as to whether or not that objection should be sustained or overruled. That's not my job. That's not my job. And depending upon how you introduce evidence and what you present, that is either permitted or not permitted, a determination is made there. How you've done it, I don't know.
I agree with you. The point that I'm trying to bring to the mayor's attention is the double standard. When there is an objector bringing documentation, a drawn video, or any other, or just speak about, we cannot speak, but there is somebody in favor of the development, then the attorney takes her time, never say a word.
What I would say to you,
So-
what I would say to you is that most probably, and I don't know this for a fact because I wasn't there, most probably when somebody goes up and speaks in favor, depending on what they say, no one is there saying, I object, this is irrelevant, so they get to speak. When someone goes up and speaks, as you may have or other people, and there's an objection, that requires then the chairman and or the attorney to rule on the objection. So if there's no objection,
Yeah,
you're
but
entitled to
the
speak.
chairman should object also when there is somebody in favor of the development and speaking about points that there are not the jurisdiction of the board.
And I'm
Those
sure
points,
if they
they
went
only
on,
come.
I'm sure if they went on at length, and I know there have been objectors who've testified at length. I'm sure if they went on at length, at some point they'd say, "Okay, let's get on with it." I don't
No,
know.
there wasn't. Thank
Well,
you.
I'm not there to determine.
Thank you, Olga. Anybody else wishing to be heard?
Go.
Yes, Doc, come on up.
Oh, 07. I guess you'll have to explain to the new members what
I think they've
07
heard that
is.
before. Right? At least one cycle.
Just a short statement. Mr. Mayor, how many families live in Ocean Township?
Well, over 10,000 families.
Over 10,000. I personally object to every time I hear the community says or the community wants. It's a portion of the community. Let's get it straight when we say it, instead of propagandizing for a few. 10,000 families is a lot bigger number than 1,600 families. That means that the rest of them have a different opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. There's actually 27,332 people at Ocean, and she mentioned 1,800 were against. Anyway, thank you. Anybody else wishing to be heard? All right, seeing and hearing no one, so I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes.
Siciliano?
Yes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for joining us. Remember, we appear twice a day at channel 77 if you have Cablevision, 22 if you have Files, and of course, they're taped and archived on YouTube. Tell it.